College football fans, the 2022 regular season is over. If you know someone like yourself may have a gambling problem, please call the 800 number. Let's get to the results and the analysis. Straight up winners. When you consider all games, it's Zan coming in at 65%, picking straight up winners. And as you'll notice, that Boomer didn't start picking until week 3, and Avenger didn't start picking until week 6. That's why there are gaps in the spreadsheet there. But if you count week 6 plus, Zan still comes out ahead at 58 over Boomer at 56, Avenger at 55, and Shub at 53. Now, the percentage of weeks that you were picking was greater than 50%. That means you picked more than half the games for that week. And Boomer comes in at 73%. 73% of the weeks, Boomer was on the positive side. Now, how did he do that when Zan beat him out at 65% for all games? Well, it's because Boomer was more consistent. Zan was more up and down. He had some good weeks, had some bad weeks, but Boomer was overall more consistent. You see that Boomer only had two weeks that were below 50%, one at 50%. So Zan didn't do so good on that. Now let's take a look at against the spread for all games. Avenger wins this, as we were expecting, at 59% picks for the games. And of course, week 6 plus, that's when he started, or it started. Now for the percentage of weeks that Avenger won, 88%. He only had one week that he was below 50% in his against the spread picks, and 2 weeks where he was even Steven. So let's look at overall. All games considered, Zan won at 61%. Going from week 6 forward, Zan barely beats out Avenger by 0.1% at 57.3%. And a percentage of weeks greater than 50% wins, Avenger easily beats us at 88%. Now, if you look at this graph down here, you'll see that we all pretty much had an ups and downs, and our ups were all up and our downs were mostly all down. It seems that games either behaved as expectations or it did not. Now, we've got 3 graduates from 2 different conferences. Zan and Shub from the SEC and Boomer from the Big 12. Let's see how well we each know our own conference. And Zan in his SEC matchups for picking straight up got 68%. Shub only 64%. For against the spread, Boomer beats him at 53%. And both of the SEC graduates were less than 50% in picking against the spread in their own home conference. Pitiful. Now, let's look at how the favorites and underdogs did. As you see here, the favorites won the straight up pick 68% of the time. So if the team was favored by 1 point or more, 68% of the time they won the game. 32% of the time the underdog won the game. Warning, you can't get rich by just picking the favorite in straight up matches, what's also known as a money line pick. And you can read this if you don't get it. Basically, you pick the winner, you're not going to get as much money back as what you would lose when you pick the loser. I mean, you pick the winner, but you lose the bet. So you only win a little bit, but you lose a lot when you lose. You win a little when you win, lose a lot when you lose. So even though it's at 68%, those numbers would cancel out, and you'd probably end up losing more than you would win. Now let's look at the favorite. Did they cover the spread? Not very good. Only 41% of the time did the favorite team cover its spread. That means 59% of the time it did not cover the spread. So, what are the lessons learned here for season 2022? Straight up, don't use any four of us for straight up winner picks. The best was 65%. What you should do is pick the favorite to win straight up 68%. You'll get that 68% of the time. That beats the 65. Straight up, don't use Boomer straight up for weekly picks, even though I got 73% of my weekly picks were in the positive. Do pick the favorite to win weekly. That's 77%. Again, plus 4%. Against the spread, do go with Avenger in the against the spread games at 59%. And at the spread, the Avenger will win his weeks 88% of the time. Now, what don't do? Do not pick favorites to cover, because you'll lose 59% of the time. Do not reinvest your winnings, because one bad week will happen. Even Avenger had bad week. And if you do like a compound interest, you win week 1, win week 2, you're ahead of the game. You reinvest all that money in the next week's bets. One bad week will wipe that out. So take your winnings from that week, set them aside, let them accumulate over there, because this is not like compound interest. Compound interest gets you positive every week. Picking football games, that will not give you positive every week, no matter how good you are, even if you're a robot. Now, you do want to have a large enough sample size. We did 10 games each week, so if you only did 2 or 3 or 4, your percentages could be off and you could pick the wrong games, and these results will not be good. Now, these results are not guaranteed in the future. This was only for the 2022 season. How the 2023 season will be, I don't know. Nobody knows. And remember, if you think you have a gambling problem, call the 800 number. You think somebody else has a gambling problem, call the 800 number listed here. Well, please put your comments, and hopefully I did all the math right, and maybe I can put a link to this Excel spreadsheet down below. I'm not sure if I can. Probably can't. Anyway, like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Later. Congratulations, you stuck around to the end to see the bonus. Now, this is how you may or may not make money. No guarantees here, but if you bet on every underdog to cover the spread, how would you have done? Well, looking at weeks 1 through 13, you would have won 68 games, lost 58 of those picks. 7 of those picks would have pushed you, so you had gotten all your money back on those 7. But you would have had a winning percentage of 55.2%, which still does not beat Avenger. Now, you would have had 7 weeks of positive money making, 3 weeks of negative, and then 1 week you'd be even Steven. Now, here's the way that you can make that a little bit better is you skip the first 3 weeks as teams are trying to establish their identity. And remember, the spreads are determined by millions of gamblers trying to find that 50%, where 50% is on one side and 50% is on the other side as far as the money is concerned. And since nobody knows the identities as well in weeks 1 through 3, plus you're playing a lot of non-conference and some FCF, some cream puff schools, you don't know how good their defenses are, how good their offenses are. So you could just start in week 4, get rid of that first 3-week uncertainty, and start just betting on the underdogs to cover then. That way, you would be 59-36 with a 62% winning percentage. And that beats Avenger starting in week 6. So, there's no guarantees. And if you're a gambler, make sure you call that 800 number. Or if you know somebody who's a gambler, call the 800 number. That's it. Later.